Welcome back, all you blood-drinking dudes and dudettes. Toyshiz here, and I am back yet again to give you guys another fresh look, courtesy of my friends over at Diamond Select Toys. We are totally checking out their brand new Netflix Wave 2 of their anime series, Castlevania. And if you know this series, they are in Season 3, moving on to Season 4. We have 3 new vampires. We got some enemies. As opposed to Wave 1, it was all the heroes. And I will say this, the packaging on this is spectacular. I love the way this looks. It's very dark and brooding. It's very gothic and vampire-like. And it fits the motif of Castlevania perfectly. So for the first wave, we have Sypha, Trevor, and of course Alucard. And this time around, we got Godbrand, Carmilla, and Dracula. And from what I could see in the packaging, they look pretty good so far. The first wave kind of had some issues with paint, and then some other things here and there. There was some wonkiness with Wave 1, so hopefully they've cleared it up for Wave 2. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice victim, get some blood out of them. This is a look at the brand new Diamond Select Castlevania Wave 2. And here's all 3 figures out of the packaging, and the one thing I'll notice right off the bat is that the first wave had a ton of accessories. This wave, kind of sort of lacking, I'm going to say that. Godbrand, I think, is the most stacked with them. He's got extra hands, a head portrait, he's also got his sword, and his axe. Now, Dracula comes with a cool accessory. He gets his own candelabra. He does have an alternate head portrait and a pair of hands. Like Trevor last time, Wave 1 with the bucket. I think Dracula's got the best accessory. Carmilla, she's good. She's got a pair of hands and a head, and she also comes with a stand because, as we're going to see right now, she doesn't stand that well, unfortunately. But in looking at her, the paint has improved with this Wave 2. I will say that. I'll give it to them all day. And I think for the most part, she does look good. And I really like the subtle red to the black right here. I think that came out perfectly. The hair on her sculpted really nicely. And I think I'll show you in just a second. Out of the 3 of these, the head portrait, I think, fares the best for most on model. We'll just say. However, with the articulation, the head, the arms, the waist, she's basically, everything's up top articulation-wise, and then other than that, she's kind of just a statue in that sense. You can twist her at the waist, like I said, you can twist her legs, but her dress is a very form-fitted plastic, so you're not going to be able to move them out if she's got articulation up there, which I don't know, I don't think she does. Yeah, they just twist. You can swap out the head. It is kind of a tight fit, right? Which is good. It keeps the head on nicely. And she has very much that, very solemn, which I really like this head portrait on her. I think that came out nicely. She's got really nice hands, alternate hands, painted well. Again, they'll rock back and forth. The fingernails to the red to the black, to the color of her skin, fits very nicely. And it's really easy. Just want to swap out her hands. They're more of an open hand and then more of like a come hither kind of thing. So not a whole heck of a lot of difference in the hands. I wish they would maybe had some more, item holding hands, something like that. The other thing is that she's the only one out of all of them to come with a stand. She's got peg holes on the bottom. You slip it in right there and it keeps her steady. You can keep her aloft without it, but it's difficult, I'll tell you that. Now with Godbrand, I think out of the 3 figures, he's the most posable out of all of them. Still with the limited posability, articulation, it's not by any means Carmilla's level, but he does get kind of hung up in certain senses, like with his skirts and sort of his shoulder pad. We'll say that. His long hair also, keeps him from kind of looking up. He looks down, kind of, sort of. But he does look good for being fairly on model. So I appreciate it definitely for that. The anime style is not always easy to get. He doesn't have anything bicep swivel. He's got single jointed elbows and his wrists will spin and they'll go all the way back. He has a semblance of an ab crunch. He can twist mostly, but going back and forth, there's not a whole lot going on. If you want to move his legs, it's easier to do, especially than, let's say, Carmilla. We'll look at Dracula in a second. But he does have double jointed knees. You can't do much with him. He will rotate. He's got ankle rock. He'll go back and forth. His legs swivel, everything else like at the thigh. He stands fairly well. It's just that his skirt does get in the way. Now, his accessories are really what make him, I think so. He comes with his axe. The one thing about it, he holds it, but unfortunately the grip on his hand, let's say the axe is too small. If it was a little bit thicker of an axe, he would hold it better. It does go in his hand, it does stay. But you see what I mean. Same thing with the sword. The sword, they're both painted nicely, sword and axe. And I'm really glad they gave him some melee weapons, right? But again, the same thing, it's not a tight enough grip. And while he does come with some alternate hands and an alternate head, which, yeah, he goes from like solemn, like Carmilla, to like the full vampire. So I do like the head portraits in that sense. It does give him a range where it's not just like subtle differences. And while he does come with a lot of different extra hands, yeah, they're mostly open hands and they're not going to do you any favors when trying to hold his weapons. He's got great paint on him. I like his weapons. So I do think that this is a good looking figure. And now we got Dracula. Dracula, he's every bit as awesome as you want him to be, in the sense that if you're just going to put him on the shelf, I think you'll fare really well. He's got a big giant cape, which is done nicely. It's a very thick, heavy plastic. Goes all the way up around. He's got a red collar. He does look like he stepped out of the show, but you get minimal head articulation out of it. Basically looks left and right. Again, he's got the solemn and he's got the more I just went Dracula, but the paint is not that great on the head, and it doesn't really match his skin tone from his neck to his face, unfortunately. And I don't like those little white marks on his forehead, you know, up into his hairline. It's weird. He's got single jointed elbows. He's got wrists that span. He's got a ring painted on his finger, which all his other hands, they do have the same ring, though that's nice to see. But it's, yeah, this is, it's noticeable when you see it. He's got a very white sort of paint, and then the heads and the hands are kind of a different white. Very Carmilla, and then Godbrand. You can kind of sort of move his extra arm that's tucked away underneath his cape. Dracula, you know, he is kind of stationary throughout most of Castlevania, to be honest with you. He's got double jointed knees, and they will turn at the thigh. His boots will rock. He's got really nice boots. I like him. He's very much a thin, gaunt, very tall Dracula. When you want to switch out the heads, simply do so. Just pull that right off. His cape, right, is a different piece, and you can slip this off as well. The collar, I meant to say. If you want, you can do this without the cape. You get all the articulation out of him, but you got two giant holes on either side of him. It doesn't look that great. The reds, the grays, everything on him looks nice. The hands, again, they're all painted nicely. It's just that in some aspects, the color doesn't match. He does come with a gorgeous candelabra, and like I said, he had Trevor last time with the bucket, and now this is my new favorite accessory. It's really two pieces. At the bottom, you just kind of hook this together. It combines the legs, so it stands nice. It displays nice. It's painted elegantly, much like this Dracula. I'll give it to them all day. They've definitely improved the paint. They've definitely improved the quality control. It's just a matter of, do you care, right? If it's more just looking at the figures and not so much an articulated action figure. So in the sense of how they scale with one another, I think it's really nice. Dracula should be more of a tall character. Godbrand, a little bit smaller, and Carmilla just under or about the same as Godbrand. Again, I think overall the paint quality has definitely improved. I think Carmilla does fare the best in terms of the paint and also being on model. When you put him with Wave 1 or any of the characters with Wave 1, I think you're going to have a good time. If you've collected them, you know the issues with Wave 1. But it doesn't discount the fact that if they're just on your shelf, if you're a fan of Castlevania, I think that you'll like them, but it doesn't excuse the fact that Diamond Select, you know, more of quality control, we'll say that. But when they're all together, it does make me want more characters. So now that we're going into Season 4, and we have had some costume changes, I mean, I would like more, but as you can see on Sypha right there, it looks like her tooth. It's supposed to be like the glare of her lips, like her lipstick kind of thing. So those are the issues. Trevor had more than enough issues with his hands and accessories, everything else. But the other main thing being is that there was a heck of a lot more accessories with Wave 1. So I'm kind of missing that. Yeah, some are unnecessary, but I'd rather have more than less. So I'd say of all these three figures, they're kind of lacking in the accessories. For what they do come with, it's good, but I would have expected some more. A giant open cape for Dracula. If you could have done that, that would have been great. I think out of all of them, the most action figure of the three goes to Godbrand. He does have good weapons. He kind of sort of holds them okay. It's doable, but it's not fantastic. Carmilla, she looks good. She's the most on model. And again, when you do pair them up with the other figures, I think that you kind of have a good Castlevania setup going on. I would say, if anything, maybe wait for clearance. That's my ultimate thing. I think Dracula is most definitely a grab. He'll look good on like a Nintendo shelf or something like that. But the other two, if you're not familiar with Castlevania, I could see you going, nah. But again, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Comment below, let me know. Let's talk everything Castlevania. And thank you again to Diamond Select for sending these over to give you guys this fresh look. Now I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, not enough action figures these days come with a bucket and a candelabra. We need to see more in all aspects of the collecting community. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.